Alright guys, after a couple years of being off this house, we're back and we're gonna be demoing the screen porch, baby. Yep. That screen porch is now gonna be an extension of the current living room. I'm not sure where it is here on the blueprint, but this is the demo. I'm gonna be taking off the columns and the doors, and this is the new addition. It's gonna be a whole chimney over here on this far end, and pretty much the room is just gonna be extended because right now it's about half of what it's going to be. So yeah, today we start demoing. The roofers are here. Gonna start taking off the copper metal at the top, and we're gonna start taking off everything that's wood, and we're gonna try and save this little roof here that's near the house just to keep water from going into the house for now. Try and be as safe as we can. So here we go, man. Day has already commenced. Taking off these doors, saving all the hardware, but apart from that, everything else is going. This is the inside part of the house. So like I said, we're gonna maybe leave a rafter to prevent water from going into the house. So yeah, I gotta get these big brackets off. These big columns, they're like 8x8 posts, and everything else is trash. Let's get the day started. Alright guys, we're going to commence this demo by taking off the trim pieces off of the screen porch. Now they're not really finished trim pieces, but they are the finished screen pieces that go over the actual screen and cover the staples. So once we pop these trim pieces off, we'll be able to access the screen. And again, that trim piece just acts as a cover for all of the staples that are holding the screen together. Once we get the screen ripped off, it's time to take apart our frame. The actual frame also consists of real true 2x4 pieces of cedar. Although this is a demo, one thing we are trying to save is the 8x8 post. So we want to make sure we cut all of the caulking that's between the 2x4 and the post, just to prevent them from getting damaged any further. Demo's starting to come together out here. Well, I figured I'd show you guys my view of exactly how I'm taking off this trim piece. We're using our hammer and a little bit of our claw bar just to pry it open. We want to make sure that we really cut the caulking on this trim piece, because once we pry it open, if we don't, it's going to take away some of the wood from the column since it's really stuck on there. It's time to take off that trim piece. Alright guys, as we're moving along, now it's time to rip off that screen. We're going to just yank it out as carefully as we can and be careful with our hands, because these are a bunch of tiny little metal wire pieces that'll mess our hands up. Wouldn't be a demo if we didn't have to take our sawzall out. We're going to go ahead and cut the 2x4s, the cedar 2x4s. Again, they're real nice and beefy. Real 2x4 inches. And going to go ahead and start taking down the frame. Cutting our wood in half also helps pull it off whenever we're going to destroy the actual frame. I'll show you guys what I mean here in a second. And now if you direct your eyes towards the screen, you'll see exactly what I meant whenever I said we'll have to pull it from one side and just pry it open. The other side, the nails pop off sooner or later. Big nasty sledgehammer and claw bar doing their thing, of course. Wouldn't be a demo without them either. Once we remove that center 2x4 plate,
we're going to have more access to use our claw bar and pry open that stud off of our post. And man, that claw bar definitely makes a difference when we're trying to pry these studs off.
You got it. You can do it.
I don't think so.
Nah, me neither, but. Oh yeah.
¿La tienen?
Oh yeah. I hope so. Whoa.
Alright guys, well now comes the exciting part. Now that the framing is gone for the actual screen part of the porch, the structure, it's time to take it down. Yep, we're going to go ahead and take down the columns. This one is supporting, but it's not structurally supporting. The roof will still be standing without it. This is just a middle column, so the beam doesn't sag over time. These aren't as heavy as I thought also because of the fact that they're cedar, but they are pretty heavy and long.
Well, it's now been a couple hours, and sadly I had to actually get to work. I'm just kidding, I was working this whole morning whenever we were demoing also, and y'all had that POV, but it's been a couple hours since lunchtime. The roofers have got all of the copper metal up on top completely gone. And yeah, we went ahead and took the sheets of 4x8 off, and now we're taking that quote-unquote 5/4 by 12 cedar. And then the cedar rafter. Everything here was cedar. Cedar, 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 cedar. You can tell where all the cedar was. And this is a real 2 by 6 inches. This is a true 2 by 6, just like they did wood back in the days. Because as many of y'all don't know, a 2 by 4 nowadays is actually 1.5. This one's close to 2 inches. We still got to take off the structural posts here in the corners and the beams, but apart from that, all the rafters, the boards, the cedar boards are gone, and hopefully we finish it up today before we leave.
Alright, well the day ain't over just yet. So, we were going to try and leave some of the roof on for tomorrow, but we ended up destroying most of it and just leaving the beams. Still pretty structurally tied into the house. We just went ahead and ripped off all the rafters.
Almost had the ridge collapse on me, but man, oh man.
The contractor had somebody build some crates that were 4x8, so we're just cutting a bunch of the rafters into smaller pieces, even though they're not too long or too heavy. We're gonna have to chop them up either way, which kind of helps us also by pulling them down, because it's not one long piece that's tied into both ends. We just cut it into 2 or 3 pieces, pull down, and it makes it a lot easier to pull off the nails that are attached to the beam from the rafter.